Joining us now with reaction, the executive director of the National Rifle Association Institute for Legislative Action, Chris Cox. Chris, it's like a compulsion. They can't say radical Islamic terrorism. They can't acknowledge that law enforcement and the Department of Homeland Security failed. This is a guy that cheered after 9/11, said he was connected to Al-Qaeda, said he was connected to Hezbollah, said he wanted to be a martyr. Was only on the watch list for a short period of time. They took him off. And then they want to blame the weapon, as though the weapon was responsible. What's your reaction to that and how those that politicize this?
Well, Sean, what happened in Orlando was both heartbreaking and makes you furious. It was infuriating because the truth is we're facing a massive problem in this country. We are facing a crisis, and the crisis is not over the Second Amendment or over guns. The crisis is over the fact that we have radical Islamic terrorists in this country trying to kill as many Americans as they can. So the question becomes, what are we going to do about it? We can go down the path of gun control. They have every gun control law imaginable in California, but it didn't stop the terrorists in San Bernardino.
I have had most of my adult life. I've had a license to carry in Rhode Island, California, Alabama, Georgia, New York. I have carried it since my 20s. I've been carrying a weapon. If an incident like San Bernardino, Chattanooga, or in the case of Orlando ever happens, I would want somebody like me, somebody who's been well trained. I'm a marksman. I've learned gun safety since I'm 11 years old. I would want an opportunity to maybe help save lives. When this guy dropped a clip, if there was a responsible armed American there, maybe some people's lives could have been saved. What part of that does the left not understand?
Well, Sean, I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. All of us want to make sure that people are safe. All of us want to live in safe communities. But as you mentioned, bad things happen. And to think that one more gun control law is going to stop a jihadist from carrying out his quest for martyrdom is not just absurd, it's dangerous. We have these laws in other parts of the world. We have them in California, and they've done nothing. So at the end of the day, it's a distraction. It's a distraction by this president and by Hillary Clinton away from their abject failure and the failure of their policies to keep us safe.
Does it anger you? These are the same people that gave guns to drug cartels, kidnappers, gangsters, and Fast and Furious. Does it anger you that the same people gave $150 billion to the #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran? Does it bother you they gave Mohammed Morsi, a guy that referred to the Israelis as descendants of apes and pigs, tanks and F-16s and money? Does it bother you that these are the people that released Gitmo detainees? Because it really bothers me, the level of hypocrisy, because those things that they did are far more dangerous than the average law-abiding citizen having a gun.
Sean, what bothers me is the fact that we all know that something bad's going to happen again in this country. And we also know that this president and Hillary Clinton are doing nothing to keep us safe. Their policies and their philosophy, this political correctness in their philosophy and in their policies are getting people killed. The fact that we're not trusted to defend ourselves is just defies logic and defies common sense. The American people are smarter than this. They're sick and tired of this BS coming from Congress and coming from the political elites who surround themselves with armed security but want us to be defenseless.
I mentioned my cousin down in Florida. One of the biggest things he is involved in is gun safety. And I think the NRA gets a bad rap. Are you guys the #1 advocates, teaching organization for safety? Like, for example, I have a Liberty safe next to my bed. It's a fingerprint safe for my handgun. People seem to reject what the role of the NRA is. Isn't safety one of the biggest missions of what you do?
Sean, we've put 29 million kids through a gun avoidance program, little kids that are too young to be around guns. We train more people in safe and responsible gun ownership than the federal government. We train the military. We put on the police competitions. We take a backseat to no one, not only when it involves safety, but also when it comes to national security. We've had NRA members who have fought and died in this war on terror. So to suggest that somehow we want to cause a problem or want to have terrorists get access to firearms is not just wrong, but it really is offensive, no question about it.
Yeah, and by the way, one irresponsible person gives a bad name to the millions of responsible people. And I do appreciate your your work with safety, and thank you for being with us. You know, every once in a while I get a call from somebody on my radio show. Oh, what kind of gun do you think I should get? I know you're into guns, Hannity. I know you've been I said, well, which one do you want to get trained in the use of? That's the one you can get. All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.